What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, and when this video releases, which will be tomorrow morning, it'll be the last day of finals for me before I graduate college, which is very exciting, and I can't wait to get back to regular content. I have so much stuff I have lined up for you guys, but for today, I'm gonna go over the Prank Kids for a couple reasons. First of all, it's a very popular deck, and Meow Meow came out in Fan and Rage, obviously. Um, but the real reason, I guess, or the main reason, is because I did that meta tier list and I put them in Rogue, and I got a interesting couple of responses about it. I know it was a controversial type of take for sure. I just, in my experience, or I shouldn't even say in my experience, I just observed two tournaments. Like one of them was in paper, and Prank Kids was highly represented in terms of how many people brought it. It wasn't rare, and it didn't make top cut in either one. So that's why I put it in Rogue. But let's take a look. Let's take a pretty deep dive into two combos. This is the step-by-step video, obviously. So what I do is I just take popular combos. I don't think these are the best combos ever, just basic combos that I find from various different sources from different people, and I just slow them down. That's the whole point of the series. It's so funny. Every single time I prep for these videos, and I'm not very familiar with these until I make them, is they go so fast. So if you're new to Prank Kids and the whole scene of that, I'm going to explain to you how the archetype works, and I'm going to go over 3 different combos that you guys can at least get yourself familiar with. Maybe you see what goes on in the combo, and then you take it and do something else with it with yourself. This is just like the bare minimum type of thing. So the purpose of this combo, these are just added extras like the plan and the pandemonium. I'm assuming that's a really good opening for regular Prank Kids, but what you're going to end up doing is all you need for this combo is a Prank Kid plus polymerization. That's the core of the combo. So what you're going to do is you're going to normal the fansies. In this case, I had fansies in my opening. And you can convert that into the new monster, Meow Meow. Meow Meow, pretty simple. It's almost like vanilla, although it does come up in a bit. It does have a pretty good effect. Basically, a lot of the Prank Kid monsters tribute themselves. The fusion monsters, the link monsters, they tribute themselves for the cost of their effect. And what this allows you to do is banish this from the graveyard so they can use their effect twice, basically. And sometimes that'll come up. Not all of them. Some of them are hard once per turn, some of them are not. And I'll explain that as time goes on. But when it comes to the main deck Prank Kid monsters, so technically you have 15 copies. You're doing 3 each of the 4, plus the field spell searches them. So you kind of have 15 copies, and they're all play starters. But what they do is when they hit the graveyard, some of them have random effects, but they all replace themselves once per turn. If they're sent to the graveyard, they special summon a different Prank Kids from the deck, which is just crazy. So that's exactly what you're going to do here. Fansies actually sends a Prank Kid card from your deck. So in this case, pretty much ignore that I have Pandemonium. It's just in this case you have the polymerization and this. So you're going to send the Pandemonium and special summon a Dropsies. These are all important. The ones you special summon after this, be sure to pay attention for what special summons happen. So in this case, you're first going to special summon the Dropsies. And you can convert the Dropsies and the Meow Meow into the Doodle Doo. They all have funny names. That's obviously, like I said, they all replace themselves, so that's exactly what's going to happen here. And the cool thing about Prank Kids as well is that you can basically chain block all of them. Doodle Doo, you're going to definitely want to search, so I guess the Dropsies will be the chain link too, almost always. She gains you 1,000, and then also you're going to special summon the Lampsies. This is the fire. They all have different attributes. And off that Doodle Doo, you're going to search a Prank Kids place. And obviously, like I told you, Prank Kids place searches. So you're going to search and add to your hand a Roxy's, which is the Earth type. Now you're going to use that polymerization in your hand. And you're going to fusion summon the Lampsies and the Roxy's. Keep in mind that we haven't used the effect of Roxy's just yet. So that's exactly what you're going to do here. And the Lampsies you can also use. So both of them are going to place themselves. We have not used their effects yet. And this is also just for chain blocking. What it does, it reduces its attack by 1,000, and it lets you attack directly. You can actually still use this effect turn 0, which is really nice. So that does help you when it comes to a bunch of hand traps. And you can also even chain block that with Prank Kid's Place, which is nice. One of the Prank Kids banishes from your hand and draw one, which is nice. So if you have a card like No Material, if this is turn 0, you don't need it because it's not going to be useful. You're going to control cards from here on out. You don't have to use No Material, obviously. You can banish any of the cards from your hands. But from your deck, be sure to special 2. Unfortunately, I drew it, but still, it doesn't matter. The 2, what's it called? Dropsies, because you have 3 in your deck, obviously. And I think you guys can see where this is going. You're going to overlay the 2 Dropsies for a Totally Awesome. Normally, it's Bahamut Shark and then Totally Awesome, but in this deck, it's actually able to just hard summon the Totally Awesome, which is at 2 now, which is really cool. And what the Rocket Ride also does, besides the drop the attack thing, contribute it to special summon 2 Prank Kids monsters. In this case, you're going to special summon back the Dropsies and the Fansies. These combos are going to take you a while to really get down because it's hard to remember which one goes where or which one to summon at which time. Then you can use the effect of Doodle Doo, which lets it tribute itself, and it lets you add 2 of your Prank Kids monsters back. Be sure that you at least add the Lampsies because there is a fusion monster, the Battle Butler. It requires the fire, the water, and the wind, so keep that in mind. In which case, you could basically what you could do now is set both of these and during your opponent's turn activate them. I'm just going to show it to you now, the fusion summon monsters, so I can have a quick conversation about it. But obviously what you'd want to do, since this is a quick play spell, is trigger this during your opponent's turn. And what that does, obviously it's a once per turn effect, so even though you use them all this turn, they're all going to hit the graveyard, they're all going to replace themselves once again. And also you can also set, in this case I had a Prank Kids Plan in my hand. So what I'm going to do, what I'd be able to do with that is you set it and it lets you link summon during your opponent's turn, so you could pop their back row. So this is basically the end board, or the board you make during your opponent's turn. You're going to special summon 3, and what this is, it's a Raigeki. So you can use Raigeki once, and like I told you, Meow Meow lets it tribute, banish itself from the graveyard. So you have 2 Raigekis. And then you would have 3 monsters. You could link summon them into the link monster, which is called, I think it's called, yeah, Roarin' Roaster or something like that, and that pops all of your opponent's back row, which is really nice. Now, and if they open some sort of troublesome spell card, then you have Totally Awesome for to negate for that. So that's combo number 1. Relatively simple. They're all pretty simple once you kind of get the idea of which ones to special summon. Nothing is too difficult. This combo is for going second. Obviously, you have a pretty good hand here, but I think all you need is just 1 Prank Kids monster and 1 Prank Kids monster to discard from your hand. This is the quickest way to summon Access Code Talker with 3 pops, and your access code is going to have over 5,000 attack, which is really cool. In this case, my play starter is going to be Lampsies. Doesn't really matter. Once again, you're going to convert that into the link 1 Meow Meow. That's going to trigger Lampsies. Lampsies can help you special summon a Roxy's, and I've talked about this before, but obviously the reason Prank Kids are good is when it comes to time. Their combos take 15,000 minutes, so if you're going into game 3 and you've already had a long combo, you're going to be going up against time, and you may be going first because you won the die roll. And if you use Lampsies and you go through time, then when the duel ends, you'll have the life point advantage here. And there's another one that gains life points too. But in this case, you're going to special summon the Roxy's. You're going to convert the Roxy's and the Meow Meow, just like last time, into the Doodle Doo. That's going to trigger the Doodle Doo as well as the Roxy's. Roxy's is the one that banishes and draw. In this case, I banished an Nibiru and drew one, but that doesn't matter. But the Roxy's is going to replace itself with the Fansies. And off of this Doodle Doo, because it adds a spell or trap Prank Kids, you're not going to add the fusion, not going to add any of that stuff. You're going to add the Prank Kid Pranks, which you can discard a card from your hand, a Prank Kids card from your hand. That's why I said you needed that additional monster, and it helps you create a token. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. discard this. If this was a different one, it'd be cool because I think it would replace itself. But again, that's not too important. So now what you have is this token, you have the fansies, and you have the doodle-doo. The token and the doodle-doo are going to make a unicorn. So what you're doing now is you're shuffling one card. You can use any of these. So that's the first form of disruption. And then you're going to convert the fansies and the unicorn into, yep, like I mentioned earlier, the access code talker, which can help copy the nightmare unicorn, which is link 3, which helps you get to 5,000 attack. And if you'll look here, this is a dark, this is a wind, and that is an earth. So you have 3 different pops, along with a beefy boy. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to click through that, but you got the idea, right? And this is kind of like the... hopefully my opponent doesn't have Nibiru combo. We'll call it that. What you need is a Prank Kids monster. It's a 1-card combo. So the cool thing is that I guess if you don't have anything else, you can use this combo. But just, again, keep in mind you're not making Totally Awesome before the 5th summon. I have a Roxy's for this combo, and I convert that into a Meow Meow. They all start very similarly. And this is really the most vulnerable point in the combo besides negating the fusion summon, because that's always the choke point for Prank Kids. They don't do anything without fusion summoning. Is this. If they gamma this, in this case you would be dead. But sometimes you have like polymerization builds, and if you have other cards in your hand you can keep going. So it just depends. So let's say this is the worst case scenario. Roxy's is going to banish a card from your hand and draw 1. In this case, no material was a bit of a brick, but I went into a Nibiru, which isn't great either. But the Roxy's is going to replace itself with the Fansies. The Fansies and the Meow Meow are going to replace itself and become a Doodle-Doo, very similar to all the other combos. The Doodle-Doo is going to search, and the Fansies is going to replace itself. And the Fansies, as we all know, I told you guys previously, it sends a Prank Kids card from your deck to the graveyard. And this does come up because there is a Link monster that lets you grab 2 Prank Kids cards from your graveyard. But we'll do that later. And that Fantasy is going to replace itself with the Dropsies. And you're going to draw that card. Or with the Doodle-Doo, you're going to add, the Pandemonium. So I guess in this case you can ignore the Pandemonium in the hand. It's just an extra card as if you didn't have it. Then you're going to use the effect of Pandemonium. It kind of looks like you're negging here, but just bear with me here. The Pandemonium is going to, you're going to use the Doodle-Doo and the Dropsies. Keep in mind you have not used the effect of Dropsies just yet. Dropsies' effect is going to go off, and you can chain block with the Rocket Ride. And that's going to replace itself with a Lampsies. Keep in mind basically, I guess the easiest way to remember these combos is just to remember the materials for the Battle Butler. But as we all know, the Rocket Ride replaces itself, which is what we're going to do. You're going to special summon back the Fansies and as well as the Link monster Doodle-Doo. We have not used the effect of Doodle-Doo, so that's what we're going to do now. And we're going to add those 2 cards, like I said, back to our hand. So we're going to be able to fusion summon during our opponent's turn, as well as link summon during our opponent's turn, which I will show you. With the the Fansies and the Lampsies, you're going to link summon into another link 2 they have, which is Bow Wow. We have not used the effect of Lampsies just yet, so that's going to special summon a Dropsies. And it's like, wow, is that it? There's no way, that can't be it. But let me show you what happens during your opponent's turn. You can go ahead and use the effect of the Bow Wow Bark, which is going to grab the other 2 pieces. That's why you summon the Dropsies. You're going to add the 2 pieces back to your hand. Make sure, because in this case you could technically mess up because you do have the Roxy's in graveyard, but that is not one of the materials listed for the Battle Butler. So now you see here that we do have everything that we need for that fusion summon. I accidentally trigger this off, don't pay attention to that. So during your opponent's turn, you're going to activate the Pandemonium when they do anything, and that's going to fusion summon your Battle Butler. So what this is, obviously, is a Raigeki. And because this is the next turn, imagine I have an opponent here. like I mentioned in the first combo, they're all going to replace themselves. So these are all once per turn effects, not once per duel or anything like that. You can basically sequence these in any turn you want, but now you'll see here, this first Raigeki, you're going to go ahead and banish the Meow Meow. And then if you, that's one, and then what you can do next, like I said, it lets you link summon during your opponent's turn into the link 4, which is Prank Kids Rip Roaring Roaster or something like that, and that pops all your opponent's spells and traps, which theoretically could be what you need to do. This isn't the best combo, but again, keep in mind that is a 1-guard combo, so I do fully understand the capabilities of Prank Kids. I just want to see it perform at competitive events. I have not been playing in competitive events, not in line at least, so it's just from my observations, but maybe as the format goes on and we have better pilots of the deck, we will see them finally hit that top cut. That was a little bit of a longer step-by-step tutorial, but there are a lot of moving parts of it, so that's kind of why it was like that. I'm going to be doing some more. I definitely want to do some pendulum ones, and maybe some Dogmatica stuff. I know they don't technically have combos, but they do have certain sequences that help you win some games, so maybe that'll be the one that I do next. You guys will have to let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and get ready for some regularly scheduled content. Thanks for the support, everyone. Have a great night.